it's not always coffee in there. We need to talk. AMD has done it. After years of irrelevancy, they are back with a mighty Ryzen, their latest high-end gaming CPU. Well done, well done. Problem is, adoption of their brand new Ryzen CPU will all depend on other manufacturers' willingness of producing compatible motherboards. And I am sure that you already know, but when it comes to motherboards, AMD is, well, kind of under-equipped. So I have been on a mission to find the best AMD motherboard money can buy. The ultimate gaming platform. A motherboard which will not only run this monster, but also one who will look good doing it. Oh god. I'm sorry. And I have found it. I think. Here it is. The Crosshair VI Hero Edition from Asus. Crosshair motherboards are Asus' answer to enthusiastic gamers which would like to use AMD processors. So in short, Crosshair is for AMD CPUs what Maximus is for Intel. In both cases, this is where Asus tries to showcase the very best it can do both for gamers and enthusiasts. So these boards will feature advanced overclocking abilities, low-level tweaking, some cool mods, custom water cooling, accessories and options. But of course, all this comes at a cost. These boards are usually more expensive than the common board you will find in the market. The street price of that thing is about 250 bucks. Alright, let's unbox it. So first thing who pops to mind, no protective static bag. So I guess this thing is invincible. And under it we will find a cup holder, that's cool, manual, papers, registration card, and finally under more carton we have a very cool looking IO shield. I like the fact that it all comes in black, really cool. Our RGB extender cord, an SLI bridge, a few SATA cables, always useful, and more stickers. Alright, let's take a look at the board. The AM4 CPU socket is both compatible with Zen architecture as well as excavator-based APUs. And behind that barbaric name, it simply means that all your 7th generation Atlan CPUs, the one which are based on the A12 multi-core architecture, will be able to work on this motherboard as well. The only known limitation to that particular socket is that it will only run up to 8 physical cores, meaning that the new line of Threadripper might not be compatible to that particular socket. One really cool feature that I like about this motherboard is the fact that it is both compatible with all the AM3 and AM4 cooling systems, and that makes things so much easier. Next on our list, the X370 chip. I'm not gonna list all the abilities of the different chipsets which can come on Ryzen compatible motherboards. This is the only chipset which will allow us to run multiple GPU in both SLI two-ways or Crossfire configuration. Also, the X370 chipset is one of the rare ones which will allow you to do some serious overclocking and low-level tweaking. And finally, this chipset has enough bandwidth to compete with the Z270 Intel-based chipset. Next in line are dual RAM channels. As expected, we can run up to 64 GB of DDR4 RAM. The only distinction you'll have to make is if you decide to go with the 7th generation Atlan processor on this particular board, you won't be able to overclock or run your RAM's frequency as high as you would if you were running a Ryzen-based CPU. Let's jump to the PCI lanes. We have 3 PCI Express single slot and 3 X16 PCI Express slots. Interestingly, the two first ones have metallic reinforcements on each side, and that is because they are the ones most likely to bear the weight of video cards. The first X16 PCI Express slot is the only one which can run up to 16 speed. If you are going to run with one single video card on this build, this is the PCI Express slot that you want to use to have the best possible performances. If you are going for a dual video card configuration, say in a Crossfire or a SLI configuration, then you will go with the two first PCI Express lane. Now just remember that if you go for that option, both of them will share the same bandwidth availability, meaning they will run individually at 8 speed each instead of 16. Our last X16 PCI Express slot can run only up to 4 speed bus, meaning that this is the perfect location to do absolutely nothing. Next, our M.2 solid-state drive connector. First, I was a little disappointed that there was only one of those connectors and not two of them, but after reviewing the specs, I understand the X370 chipset limitations. So even if we had a second one, it would run at such a slower pace, the bandwidth wouldn't account for the connector itself. And finally, let's take a closer look to our peripherals. So the first thing who jumped to my face, and I mean jump, is that there is a bunch of USB connectors. We have like, 13 of them with 3 different kind of standards. We have some 2.0, 3.0, 3.1 and a Type-C. So sorry, 14 USB connectors. My oh my. Alright, so let's start with the left. We have our CMOS BIOS buttons. Then you will see there is like an empty slot and some kind of PCI Express single lane slot, and that is if you would want to add the Wi-Fi optional accessory. Other than that, we have our gigabit LAN network plug. Alright, so we took a look at the raw specification of our motherboard and it is quite impressive. But at the beginning of this video, I said that I would find a motherboard which could run this monster and look good doing it. Well, now is the time to see how good looking it really is. First, the aura sync effect. If you've seen some of my videos before, you'll know that I keep referring to it, and I am a big fan of the aura sync effect. If you've never heard about it, you got homework. Ow. In a few words, the aura sync effect will sync all your RGB in your build to synchronously produce an harmonious light effect, such as pulsing or etc. Back on our board, we have 2 Aura RGB strips hidden under the shields. One here and one here. Now, another way to make it really pop out is the fact that this board is 3D printer friendly, meaning that if you go on the Asus website, you can download the plans of different 3D printable objects, send it to a company who can 3D print it for you, or if you have your very own, print it right away in your living room. And as you can see, you can even add your own name, logo, or brand on those objects. Now, that's pretty cool. Last but not least, the Q-Cut Digi-Screen. You know, we see it more and more on the higher end boards out there, and it's a good thing. It will simplify your life. For one, it will help you troubleshoot your computer with error Q codes. Then it will help you monitor the CPU temperature whilst you are overclocking it. And finally, the command buttons, which are directly engaged and soldered onto the motherboard. In this case, we have our start and reset button directly here, and it is also something will simplify your life as you're testing and building your computer. In my opinion, it's a must. In conclusion, well, you know, when it comes to AMD processors, you always have to work with a more restricted list of items. But in this particular case, I really don't need much more. The board does it all. It has all the bells and whistles that a high-performance gamer would look for, the overclocking as well as low-level tweaking, the multiple GPU compatibility, and all the aesthetical add-ons such as Aura and 3D printables. So I'm feeling quite confident that this is probably one of the best board you can buy for Ryzen at that price range. I am sure that there will be more and more manufacturers who will be willing to compete for the enthusiastic segment of our market. But until then, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that this is the best option available to us. Do not forget that I am going to use this very board to complete my Ryzen project. If you did not already start to watch my amazing, insane, crazy build, you know what to do. It's not the same mug I started with. Dun dun dun.